To talk about Australia's win in the T20 World Cup, I'm joined at this hour by David Pine, New Zealand High Commissioner to India, Andrew Collister, Australian Vice Consul, Anis Sargent, cricket expert, and former Indian cricketer Ashok Malhotra. Let me start with High Commissioner, sir. David Pine, do you think in the end it all got a little too predictable, Australia once again winning another World Cup?
Oh, yes. Look, I thought congratulations to them. They batted beautifully, didn't they? I mean, that's how you do a run chase. And I think Warner and Marsh and then Maxwell towards the end, they batted beautifully. They ran really well, and they were just too good. But I'm disappointed for our guys. I'm certainly not disappointed in them. Kane batted beautifully. Bowled well. There were great moments for both teams in the game.
Andrew, many congratulations with Australia winning the World Cup, their 6th ICC title. Would you say all of this came together at a time when, Australia entered the tournament as the least favourite side? Not many players were in form. In fact, until the end, Captain Aaron Finch did not fire.
I reckon, no, that's true. Yeah, I think even tonight, Aaron Finch did not fire, but it reminds me a little bit of 1999. It was a very early memory for me when we won the World Cup. We started off badly, unfavoured, and a loss in the beginning to a more highly fancied team, and the team came together. And I think you saw at the end there, they've obviously had quite a tough few years, and it's really brought together a good mentality in the team. They all love each other, as Marcus Stoinis said, and I think that's really seen them through. That when they've been tested, obviously, winning the toss and chasing helps, but different players have stood up at different times in the tournament, and they were able to get the result tonight. And it's very exciting. It's as you said, it was definitely not what we were expecting at the start of the tournament.
Ashok, it seems that this team, Australia, has a knack of coming together at the right time, because when you look at their performances of the last year, their tours to West Indies, their tours to Bangladesh, the way they performed, they were written off. But come the World Cup, and David Warner, who was even left out of his IPL team, come the World Cup, they all got together and finally lifted the trophy.
That is what Australians do. They win the ICC World titles. That is all. That is what they specialize in. That is why you can never rake them off. You can't write them off at all. And the fact is, they peaked at the right time. They gradually kept improving. And not to forget, the moment David Warner started firing from the top, Australia looked a different team altogether. He is the key to their success, because he's the mantra they were missing. David Warner not in the team, Australia looks not such a good team. The moment David Warner starts firing on all cylinders and started giving them a great start, quick start, and a master stroke by them by having Mitchell Marsh at number 3. That's a new strategy which has worked for Australia. But they looked today when they were chasing the target. The determination written on their faces, be it Warner, be it Mitchell Marsh. They wanted to lift the title, and that is what Australians do. They specialize in. That is why they are the number 1 team normally.
I'll talk to you about Mitchell Marsh, but let me ask you a little bit about David Warner. What is it about David Warner that when he comes into form, Australia looks like a completely different team? They look like a completely different outfit.
Because he takes a fight to the opposition. He takes the bowling on. And plus Finch and Warner are a deadly combination, although Finch didn't fire in the entire tournament. But single-handedly, David Warner, the way. And I was surprised when people were writing him off. He has failed in a couple of matches in IPL and 1 match in ICC. You can't, because form is temporary. Class is permanent. And David Warner is a classy player, a great player for Australia. And I was really surprised when the critics were writing David Warner off. And he answered his critics with the bat.
Anis, you were perhaps in the middle of it all when David Warner was left out of the Sunrisers team in one of the matches. He was on the sidelines and acting as the cheerleader for the team. It cut a very sorry figure. Would you say that was the moment, or that was around the time that he was fired up to do something like this in the World Cup?
No, Rika, honestly, no. It might be easy to say now that he has performed, but trust me, during the IPL, he looked out of place, out of sight, to an extent that in one of the matches, he did not even come to the ground. Like, he was so afraid to even hold the bat. But that's how the cricket is, as Mr. Ashok Malhotra said, class is permanent, form is temporary. And in that Sri Lanka game, I'm not taking away anything from David Warner, but he was dropped quite early. And that is where he needed that slice of luck. And then he never looked back. And like Ashok Malhotra said, when Warner started firing, there was no looking back for Australia. And most importantly, Finch was winning all the tosses. He lost one toss against England.
Right.
They lost the match. Rest all tosses they won. They won the matches.
So David Warner right now is the second highest run scorer in the tournament after Babar Azam. Let me go back to Andrew. Andrew, Australia, as against New Zealand, won more tosses. The Australian captain, though not in the best of form, he managed to win 6 tosses. It almost, isn't it that it almost became predictable that you win the toss and you win the match?
Maybe it is, as the adage goes, if you can't be a good captain, be a lucky captain. And I think Aaron Finch has definitely been a lucky captain this tournament. And as you said, the trend is clear. But I suppose this tournament, clearly there's a trend, but this can depend on the conditions elsewhere around the world. Obviously, some countries, when it's due at night, that takes spin out of the game, but that's not the case everywhere. Obviously, for broadcast reasons, it's very good to have T20s at night, which does have that effect. So, yeah, maybe there are ways to address that. But I think a deeper study would be known if that trend holds across the world. But, yeah, definitely this tournament, chasing teams have won pretty much every game. So, predictable, but I suppose that's where the luck comes in.
Ashok, as someone who follows the game very, very closely, does this trend worry you?
It does. ICC and BCCI will have to think about it because, a lot of cricket is being played in UAE. If toss is going to be vital, it's a win or lose situation, then I think the captains will have to be good tossers like Aaron Finch is. And not like Virat Kohli, who's a bad tosser. If I may say, you need to practice tossing as much as you practice your batting skills. So definitely it is a name of the game if you're going to play in the UAE. But they'll have to come to some kind of either they use the super stoppers or what all they can do to make sure that it is not advantage to the team which wins the toss.
Mr. High Commissioner, let me ask you a little bit about Captain Kane Williamson, though he may have to practice winning tosses. But despite not being again in the best of form in the beginning of the tournament, on the day of the final, he came up with a brilliant knock, a knock of 85. Perhaps it could have been a match-winning knock on any other day. Would you say that, New Zealanders losing this game is something that will, hurt him most than the rest of them, given how he got this team together?
Look, I think they'll pick themselves up pretty quickly. They've got important games coming up here in India in about 3 days' time. So they won't have too long to feel sorry for themselves. I thought, that was as good a white ball innings as I've seen Kane Williamson play. I mean, I thought he was brilliant tonight, really. That's a quality bowling attack he was playing against. They were under pressure. They'd made a slow start. And, he just showed what he can do. I was so thrilled for him on a big stage to really do himself justice.
Anis, would you say the way the Kiwis played tonight, they have served up a warning to the Indians who they are going to take up next?
They have been always India's nemesis, so I am not sure whether it's a warning. They've beaten India in most of the crunch ICC matches. This is a bilateral series. We have to see, I'm sure, a lot of Indians who have been selected in this squad are young. And it's going to test Rohit Sharma as a captain because New Zealand, you can never count them out in a T20. Test matches, of course, India is playing in their home turf, so India definitely start as favourites. But T20 is a different ball game. And I'm sure India would like to, if not take revenge, but at least try and win 3-0 to stamp the authority to begin as Rohit Sharma's captainship.
Ashok, tonight, where did the Kiwis fall short? Because I thought when the match began, they had also picked an extra bowler and that could come in handy for them.
I think, they missed David Conway. Definitely they missed him because they were depending too much on Williamson. And bigger the stage, better he plays. Once again, he showed why he's the top class cricketer, maybe he's number one batter in the world. The way he plays. And he's very unassuming. And the only thing I feel is they lacked with the spinners because Australians has a game plan against each Sodhi and Santner. They were not going to let them settle down. So they took their toll against them. And especially Saudi, they targeted 2-3 bowlers. They knew Bolt is going to bowl well. So definitely they targeted the spinners and they were very successful.
Andrew, let me ask you one final question since I'm running out of time. Australia has won 6 world title, ICC title. Where would this T20 title rank in their list of achievements?
I admit I'm too young to remember the 1987 one, but I think it would rank probably second after the 1999 one, as I said at the start. 2003, 2007, that team was unbelievable. And 2015, that was on home soil, so it was special. But I think, both 99 and this year that you've had a team that, was underrated going in, not at full strength, but players, delivering when they needed to, and some really memorable performances. As I said, Mitch Marsh is now the World Cup final hero that, we've been hoping for years. And Glenn Maxwell hits the winning runs. David Warner becomes player of the tournament. These players finally get to, justify the hype by having these defining performances, and that's really exciting for this generation of players.
Well, congratulations to you once again on Australia's win, and commiserations to High Commissioner, sir. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on the broadcast this evening with those wonderful thoughts. And the news at this hour is that Australia has won the world title, the T20 World Cup, by beating New Zealand.